It's 10 o'clock. Going to call the Committee on Audit to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Colleen,
Here.
Commissioner Garza,
He'll be in, I hope.
Commissioner Clark Coleman, Commissioner Knizik, Chair Dobb,
Here.
you have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item.
B, Chairwoman's remarks.
I have none. Next item.
C, approval of the September 11, 2024 meeting minutes.
Move approval, Madam Chair.
There's been a motion for approval and support. Any discussion on the meeting minutes? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion passes. Next item.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
Next item.
Item 1, under new business, forwarding the final copy of the Office of Legislative Auditor General's Performance Engagement Report for the Wayne County Office of Register of Deeds Remonumentation Grant Program.
Okay, great. I will turn this over to our Auditor General, Marcy Cora.
Marcy Cora, Auditor General, let the team and then the guests from Register of Deeds introduce themselves.
Will Hamner, Audit Manager.
Crystal Thomas, Supervisory Auditor.
Sandra Allen, Legislative Auditor 3.
Maxwell Landry, Legislative Auditor 3.
Morning, Harry Kalaturakis, Chief Deputy Register of Deeds.
Jenny Wright, Deputy Register of Deeds Finance.
Welcome.
I'm going to turn it right over to Crystal Thomas and she'll go through the presentation. I believe I sent it out this morning. Anybody needs a hard copy? I do have hard copies.
Good morning. Our objective for this engagement was to assess compliance with grant program regulations and guidelines. Our scope of the engagement covered the period of calendar years 2021, 2022 through August 2nd, 2023. The methodology used to address the objective outline for this engagement was to conduct inquiries, analytical procedures, and interview officials within the Register of Deeds, reviewed the contract between the Register of Deeds and the remonumentation contractor to identify key compliance issues and operational services. And we also reviewed program documentation, assess monthly billings and remittance payments to the state of Michigan. To give you a little background information, the remonumentation program is funded by a grant from the state of Michigan. Monumentation and remonumentation program expenditures were $609,905 in 2021 and $377,011 in 2022. And for the 2023 management stated for the 8th month period, total program expenditures incurred was $39,524. The ROD is responsible for collecting a mandated $4 recordation fee for documents recorded at the Register of Deeds office. Based on state law, the Register of Deeds is required to submit a quarterly payment to the state of Michigan. The Register of Deeds must remit $3.94 of the fee to the state and retain 6 cents for administering the remonumentation program. With permission of the chair, I would like to turn the next part of the presentation over to Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Engagement results. Objective 1, assess compliance with grant program regulations and guidelines. Non-compliance with contract terms, invoice billing, and monthly progress reports. That'll occur on pages 6 through 8. As stipulated under section 9.03, the contractor must submit monthly invoices and monthly progress reports outlining the contractor's activities during the month. Invoice billings. Our review of the submitted invoice billings provided during our scope period of calendar years 21, 22 through August 2nd of 23 found the contractor did not submit billings monthly. There is a chart on page 7. As required by the contract terms. We also found no evidence the contractor submitted a monthly progress report with the billings that were submitted. The state grant requires the grantee, the Register of Deeds, to monitor performance to assure that time schedules are being met and projected work by time period is being accomplished. We recommend the Register of Deeds Management require the contractor to submit monthly billings and progress reports each month to comply with the contract provisions and state grant requirements to communicate work in progress. Management agreed with the recommendation. Enhanced procedures over payment approval process, which is on pages 8 and 9. Over the scope period for the 11 invoices submitted by the contractor to Register of Deeds Management for payment, we noted the following. Invoices did not always have evidence identifying the Register of Deed reviewer's name nor the date of review. One invoice did not have the date that Register of Deeds Management approved the invoice billing prior to payment, and one invoice did not list the dates the services were approved for each corner. Ensuring the appropriate sign-off and dates of management's review should be documented prior to payment to validate the accuracy of services provided and timely detection of potential billing errors. We recommend the Register of Deeds Management enhance the remonumentation program's review and approval procedures over contractor billings to ensure invoices are reviewed for accuracy and are signed and dated by the reviewer prior to submitting the invoices for payment. Management agreed with the recommendation. And with the chairwoman's permission, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Maxwell Andrews.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Uh,
Before you start, is there any response from Register of Deeds office on those two findings? Okay.
Okay, I'll be just discussing the third finding. Remount payments to the state are not reconciled to the general ledger, which is located on pages 9 through 10. To determine if the $4 recordation fee was actually remitted to the state of Michigan on a quarterly basis for fiscal year 2021-2022, we reviewed the 8 quarters covering fiscal year 2021 and 2022 to determine if the liability and revenue transactions were properly recorded to the general ledger. Our assessment determined quarterly payments to the state of Michigan were accurately remitted based on documents recorded at the Register of Deeds. However, we determined 6 of the 8 quarters did not contain several adjusting entries that were either unposted and or transactions that needed to be recorded and reconciled to the general ledger. As a result of not reconciling the remount liability account to the payments due to the state of Michigan, we determined the financial balance being reported in the remount liability account was not correct. We recommend Register of Deeds Finance Manager, prior to making quarterly payments to the state of Michigan, follow their established procedures to ensure all requisite adjustment entries are recorded and reconciled to the country's general ledger liability account prior to the payment being remitted to the state of Michigan on a quarterly basis. Management did agree with our recommendation. Revisit corners billed without peer group approval, which is located on page 10 through 11. Our review found 2 invoices of 11 invoices did not contain an approval date, indicating that they had been reviewed and approved at the peer group meeting. The 2 invoices related to monument corners that had been revisited by the contractor to then ensure all markers were still in place. According to management, revisited corners were not required to be presented before the peer group for approval if no additional work was needed. Moreover, management further stated that these corners could have been previously approved dating back to 1993. Our review found 2 invoices contained 84 revisit corners, but 13 of the corners required the filing of a new land recordation certificate with the Register of Deeds, noting some additional work was required on the markers. Because management stated a log of invoices for visit corners is not maintained, there could be duplicate billings of corners visited. To strengthen the control environment over billing of visit corners, we recommend Register of Deeds Management establish written policy guidelines for visiting monument corners, ensure those revisited corners that require additional work is submitted to the peer group for review and approval, and maintain a log of revisited corners, including dates to assess the frequency of those corners that are visited and detect any duplication of corners being billed. Thank you very much. I'll turn over to Crystal. Management agreed with our recommendations.
In conclusion, our audit
Is your microphone
identified
on,
areas.
Chris?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Okay. In conclusion, our audit identified areas where the control environment over the submission of reporting, review, and approval of invoice billings and financial reconciliation procedures could be strengthened. There were 4 issues and 6 recommendations made to strengthen controls, processes, and compliance with rules and regulations within the Wayne County Register of Deeds Remonumentation Grant Program. A corrective action plan will be requested approximately 30 days after this report is formally received and filed by the Wayne County Commission. This will conclude our presentation. Thank you.
Marcy, before I turn it back over to you, can you remind us, I think maybe we need to just have this on a poster on the wall, the levels, the control deficiencies that are worse than a significant deficiency, or which one is? Material.
Okay.
Material weakness is the most significant deficiency, followed by the significant deficiency, then the control deficiency. So the ones that are significant deficiency are probably the medium risk.
Okay,
We didn't have any high risk here in the material.
good. Any last comments?
Now, I just want to thank the representatives from the Register of Deed for their cooperation during this engagement. We appreciate it.
Have any comments from Register of Deeds? Oh,
Not
is the
very much.
microphone on, Harry?
Excuse me. Not very much, really. We have been working closely with the art committee all along and are intimately aware of the recommendations and have already discussed procedures to put those in place. We recognize that we appreciate their pointing out some things that could help us do a better job of maintaining the program. So other than that, we do agree, as stated in the report, with recommendations. We are working to put them in place. If you have specific questions, I think our finance officer can answer those if you have any.
Okay. Do you, just first a general question, do you foresee any issues in preventing you from putting these processes in place?
No, not really. The only issue that, and it's of no one's fault, is with JD Edwards with the program, there are a lot of timing issues. Things don't get posted in a timely manner necessarily for us. And by the time we need to, it was brought up to reconcile in the general ledger before cutting a check. There are times when that would put us making our payment way too far away from when it should be to the state. We do reconcile to the general ledger, not necessarily in the general ledger, and I will try and fix that. But again, a lot of it is timing issues.
Okay. Questions from commissioners? Commissioner Colleen?
Sure. Yeah, just a few questions on checking corners. To begin with, just so are these, because I know, when we first laid out the state of Michigan, right, they went through, and occasionally when I'm out in the woods, you run across a marker for something. So what are we looking at here? What are these corners?
Not being a surveyor,
Right.
we put that in, but you mentioned the corners that you stumble across in the wilderness. There's actually a marker
Right.
within steps of my back door out there that were placed originally to help surveyors lay out the plat lines and stuff for our county. This program, remonumentation, is to make sure all of those are there. If they're not there, replace them. And then we have been doing the remonumentation, which is replacing the ones that are missing. And we have, after all these years, are now moving into maintenance, which is still basically just going out, making sure we found that one in the woods that you stumbled across. Well, it's probably not in Wayne County, but but we found it once. Let's make sure it's still there, still accessible. And if need be, do what needs to be done to repair it.
So these are the markers from the original surveys.
In some cases, but not always, because through construction and whatever, they could have been
So we're just checking a map. We have a map somewhere where all of these should be.
we know where they're supposed to be, right?
Okay.
And then we're locating, and in some instances, there are some that are relocated a little bit from the original
Mhm.
because of construction.
Right.
You know, a freeway might move a marker, for instance,
Correct.
right?
Well, okay, so it's not like every piece of property. You have to
Oh, no.
know it's these big. Now, I'm also curious on this $4 recording fee. What the heck is that? What do,
On every document that we record, our
oh,
recording.
on every
fee-
document?
Yeah, our recording fee is $11. We add $4 onto that. So if you wanted to record a deed, it would be $15. $3.94 of that goes to the state. We keep 6 cents to run the program.
Because when I saw that too, I thought, oh, this is just like my paper route when I was a kid. 10-cent paper, the free press charges you 9 cents and you get to keep 1 cent as that kind of thing. So how much revenue does that big 4 cents or 6 cents, whatever, generate?
It's of course based on our volume
Right.
of recordings. So it could be anywhere from, $800,000 one year, it could be $600,000
Oh, there's that many.
next year. Yeah.
Transactions.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So
$8.
the idea that the 6 cents pays for your part of the deal from the state of Michigan. So that 6 cents does cover you for your expenditures,
Mostly,
mostly.
Yeah.
Depending on volume.
yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
When was the last time that $4 fee was adjusted?
It was just 2 years ago, the ordinance was up. It was supposed to, I think, was it 2022, 2023? It was supposed to drop down to $2. And this is a state ordinance. It's not what we control. But they realized that most counties in the state have not completed the program, so they did extend it. I would have to look up the ordinance to see for how long, because I don't have that in front of me, but whenever they choose to review it and
Okay.
change the ordinance, that's when we change it. It's nothing we control.
Okay. All right. Okay, any last questions? Can I need a motion to receive and file?
I'll make that
motion, Madam
Chair.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner
The minutes.
Colleen, supported by Commissioner Clark Coleman. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes. Thank you all for joining us today. Next item,
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
have none. Next item,
G, public comments.
is there anyone here who wishes to make a public comment to the Committee on Audit? If you're on the phone or on Zoom, you can raise your hand or unmute yourself. Anyone wish to make a public comment? Did we receive any emails?
No emails were received.
Last call for public comments in any form. Hearing none. Next item.
Adjournment.
Moved by Commissioner Garza. Is there support? Support by Commissioner Clark Coleman. All those in favor?